Hello, this is Edward Lambert, Effective Demand Research. And looking at something, I'm looking at this graph. And you'll see capacity utilization. This is data since 1967. Capacity utilization on the y-axis. And on the x-axis, you'll see net exports as percentage of GDP or labor share. So the orange, this is net exports as a percentage of GDP. And you'll see that through time, it also hits this effective demand limit. Labor share here, as it changes through the years, has hit the effective demand limit many times. But then when you look at net exports, it also hits the effective demand limit. Now, do these coincide? This is the question. Does labor share hit the effective demand limit at the same time that net exports is hitting the effective demand limit? So what I did is I drew in this line here. You can see the yellow dots, and this line here with those black lines is just black dots. And what I'm going to do is just measure the distance between capacity utilization and this line. So for example, this point right here is a long way from the effective demand limit. This point here is close to the effective demand limit. So what I did is I'm going to come over here. Here you see a column for net exports and labor share. So when it gets red like this, that means that you're very close to the effective demand limit. So you can see that they're matching up. The red and red are matching up. 1967, 1968, 1969. Net exports was hitting the effective demand limit, and labor share was hitting the effective demand limit. And then down here in the green, they kind of backed off. You can see that this number rises and this number rises, so that labor share and net exports backed off from the effective demand limit. Then they came back to the effective demand limit together. You can see that the red lines are matching up here. So this means that net exports and labor share were hitting the effective demand limit at the same time. Then they backed off together. Then they came back together. Then they backed off together through 1982. And then you can kind of see that they kind of came back together towards the effective demand limit here. Then they slightly backed off in the green. Then they came back together. You can see the red lines are matching up with some red lines here. They're not close. There's still some fudge factor in there between getting close to that effective demand limit. But you see this pattern where they both go towards the effective demand limit and then back off from it. Here in 2000, you see that the net exports came close to the effective demand limit while labor share was growing. And then they both backed off right around the 2001 recession. They both backed off, which is normal. And then they came back together again before the crisis. Red lines are matching up. And then, of course, they backed off together after the during the crisis. But then you have this split right now where net exports is not getting close to the effective demand limit, and labor share is. Now, why would that be? Let me come back over here. And why would that be? It's because labor share is hitting the effective demand limit right now. These blue lines, these blue dots right here against the yellow line, that's labor share hitting the effective demand limit. But net exports is hitting the limit down here. It hasn't gone all the way back up here. It's hitting the limit down here. So why would it be hitting the limit down here? Basically because labor share is pushing capacity utilization down to such an extent that labor share has actually shifted downwards. but labor share is still showing against the same effective demand limit here. But you see in net exports, I wonder if I can show this here. I'm going to pick a dot and then go forward. Go forward in time. See the dot moving in through here. Okay. See how the dot's hitting right there? This is net exports hitting a lower effective demand. It's hitting the effective demand limit, but at a lower level, because the lower level of capacity utilization is coming from a lower level of labor share. So labor share is really driving this drop in the effective demand upon net exports. So what are some takeaways from this? The takeaways from this is that the effective demand limit applies to net exports and it applies to labor share upon capacity utilization. This is I'm going to be talking more about this, but I just wanted to show that in the graph. Okay, this is done.